Has anyone been up to anything?
No.
That's okay. I worked the past like 3 days in a row, and so it's like really weird not being in work today. But today, I don't know. Like today I went and I got sandwiches with some friends because one of them, it came up in conversation that they've never had Dutch Crunch before. So we're like, oh, we need to go to Little Luca. And so we went to Little Luca, and then at 1 I had the Samtrans Measure W meeting, and then I had to walk my dogs, and then I did a bunch of laundry, and now I'm here.
I guess Dutch Crunch is a thing. I mean, like,
I think it's like a California thing.
oh yeah,
It's like a Bay Area thing.
really?
Yeah. It's like a regional delicacy.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Aaron.
I love your little moon.
Yeah, it's cool.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, we'll just wait a few minutes.
Sorry, that was my oven.
Okay. Are you baking?
And I was preheating the oven for my dinner.
Ooh. Okay. Should we wait a few more minutes for people to fall in? Yeah. Is anyone doing anything interesting at school?
I thought everything at school was interesting, Ethan.
Really? What did you learn today, Sharon?
I wasn't at school today. My kids would give me the fine when I'd say, how was school? Fine. That's about it. That's about all I got.
I go to one of those like highly athletic high schools. So our high school like sports teams made it to like the state championships.
Oh,
Because
wow.
I guess it's really big. Like I didn't know it was big. So then they brought like, I play in band. So they brought like all of the dancers, all the band on this huge bus to go play at these state championships. And I was like, I didn't know it was big, but they were like, our school hasn't made it since like 1980s. So it was like a big deal. So that was kind of my week. Like I've just been on buses all the time. I'm like, you know, free transportation, get to see, you know, NorCal. So it's fun.
Where was it?
It was in San Rafael, but it was like in this like huge convention center. Pretty interesting. So.
Okay, I think, Aaron, do you think we should wait a bit longer?
I say we start.
Okay. I will call this meeting to order at 6:33 p.m. on March 7th. Ashley, could you do the roll call?
Yes, Chairperson Mizzy,
Here.
Vice Chairperson Adriano,
Here.
Secretary Jimenez,
Here.
Commissioner Avila, Commissioner Kamal,
Here.
Commissioner Cyrus,
Here.
Commissioner Hailu,
Here.
Commissioner Ho, Commissioner Hua,
Here.
Commissioner Ibasan, Commissioner Lee,
Here.
Commissioner Leong, Commissioner Mariano, Commissioner Giancarlo Ray, Commissioner Monique Ray, Commissioner Tu,
Here.
Commissioner Yoshida.
Here.
Thank you.
All right, on to agenda review. Does anyone have any questions or additions or subtractions to the agenda? Okay. Item 4, approval of the minutes for the meeting on the 7th of February. Does anyone have any issues with the minutes, or did everyone read the minutes? Great. We have to motion to approve the minutes, right? Is there a motion to approve the minutes? Aaron is motioning, I think. Is there a second?
I second the motion.
And a second from Commissioner Hailu. Okay. Do we need to roll call that, or can that just be a vote of like acclamation? Okay, great. On to public comments. Are there any members of the public who wish to comment? You may raise your hand. I don't think there is anyone here. Okay, gonna close the public comment. On to item 6, additional commissioner onboarding from Assistant City Manager Sharon Reynolds.
Thank you, Chair Mizzy. Hi, everybody. Sharon Reynolds here for, I think most of you guys know me. I know you have a long agenda this evening, and I just had a couple of items that I thought it might be helpful to cover, since you guys have probably had several meetings, but not that many. And most of you are new to serving on a commission. So first, I want to make sure nobody has any questions about the Brown Act. I know we had Claire come and do a legal presentation, but again, you know, the basic purpose of the Brown Act is that all of the public's business is conducted in public, and that a majority of you don't get together and discuss items that over which you might have any decision making. So does anybody have any questions about that, or serial meetings or anything like that? I think everybody's pretty clear that you can meet 2 at a time or 3 at a time, and we can have subcommittee meetings, but you really can't have subsets that represent a majority of the commission meeting together and talking about business items, right? But are there any questions about that? Okay, cool. These are just a couple of little tips or suggestions, and you guys can take it in that vein. The first one being, you know, staff sends out a packet prior to the meeting, and it's our hope that you all will read your packets prior to the meeting and be familiar with that material so that it can help the meeting to run more smoothly. So I know it's tough. You guys are really busy, but that's just a reminder that it's very respectful to staff if you can please read your packets in advance of the meeting. And I wanted to just say a little bit about participation. It's really great that this is a large group, and I know that the reason you wanted a large group, or that we thought that was desirable, is to represent many points of view. So we're really hoping that all of you, even those who may be newer to the commission, will use your voices and please participate fully, because we would really like to hear from everybody. And just encourage you not to, those of you who maybe are less experienced, to feel self-conscious at all. Again, I'm repeating myself, but we're hoping to encourage everybody to participate fully. This next one's just kind of a recommendation, and it would be really great if we could encourage folks to turn their cameras on, the commissioners. And part of the reason I say that is, one of the functions of the commission is to represent the sort of youth perspective to your fellow youth. And so it's good that they recognize you and know who you are and maybe know you around campus. So, I mean, that's another reason. Also, it's just sort of respectful between the commission and the public for staff to see you and get to know you, and for us to, get to know each other better. So again, we know that some folks may have technology issues or hardware issues, and there may be a reason you can't turn your camera on, and we understand that. But again, it's just kind of a request if possible. And another one is kind of logging in and out. Since we're virtual, we're sort of hoping that commissioners can stay logged on for the duration of the meeting, especially there really isn't a set rule about how many minutes you need to be in attendance in order to qualify for it to having been present, but it's just our request as staff, if you could just, it helps us keep track of who's here and who's not here, just kind of being logged on. Just one other item is just a reminder, if somebody from the public comes forward at a commission meeting with an agenda item or a topic that's not on the agenda, that is not something we can take up at a meeting, which is not to say we have done that, but it's just like just in anticipation of somebody saying, I think we should talk about this topic, and it might be a fabulous topic, but we would need to get a consensus from the commission that you want to agendize it at a future meeting. And then maybe staff will need to do some research, or there might be something we need to do to prepare for that item. But just a reminder about that. And then just my final one is when we have folks from the public coming in on a meeting, if they're going to do a presentation, we should probably have them on the agenda and have it agendized if they're a guest, which is different than commissioners speaking or you inviting somebody who's on, like we have Leah here tonight, who's going to be speaking about an agenda topic, which is different from just somebody from the public calling in with a presentation or something like that. So these are just logistical reminders about how we run commission meetings, and I'm happy to take any questions that you guys may have, and over time I can do more tips, but I know you have a long meeting, so those were just a couple items that I wanted to cover. And happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you, Sharon.
Okay, all right, that's
Does
all for me.
anyone, or I was gonna say, does anyone have questions? You're not off the hook yet.
Oh,
Does anyone have any questions for Sharon?
I might not know the answer, but I will try. Okay. Thanks.
Seems like you explained it so well that there could possibly be.
All right, okay. All right. Thank you, Chair Mizzi.
All right, on to the next item, 7, Youth Summer Internship Program for 2022.
Leah, do you need to share your screen or no?
Yeah, if I can share my screen.
Okay.
Am I able to share my screen? Okay.
Give me one moment.
No problem.
You're a co-host now, so you should be able to.
Okay, well, I'll start it in a minute. First, I just wanted to say thank you for having me. It was, I believe, early 2020 when I visited this group. At that time, it was the Youth Advisory Commission, or Youth Advisory Commission, was it? Now it is formally the Youth Commission. And back at that time, it was, I think, January 2020, and it was before we realized that our lives were going to be upended. So it's been a long time coming, and so I'm really glad to be back here with this group to talk about our youth internship program. I do have my 2 program consultants here today, and Donnie, who is a member of our staff, and I have a short presentation for you, which I'd like to share with you, and then about what we're doing this year and what we did last year. And then I would really love to hear your input. We're going into our 2nd year. We are still doing just internal at this point. We haven't expanded it to other businesses, but certainly we want to hear from this group how you would like, what you think would be valuable, as well as how you would like to support this program if that is your interest. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Start the slideshow. Again. There we go. Okay, so as I said, we have 2 program consultants who will be working with us this year, and it's similar to what we did last year in that we have contacted staff at the San Francisco YMCA, and they run a very similar program like this for the city of San Francisco. I can't say San Francisco anymore. It's got to be South. So, so really, they helped us last year in our first pilot program in doing the curriculum, designing the program. You know, both Troy, Susie was not with us at that time, but Troy was there and just really did an amazing job helping us run this program. And Donnie is our HR analyst, and she's really our recruitment specialist, but she does all kinds of other things, but also helps with our internship programs. I believe you've met Mary Jo. She is working with us as a management fellow and is also assisting us with this program. So I wanted to talk first about what we're doing this year so that you get that information. And it's very much similar to the program that we ran last year with a few little tweaks, but the basics are really the same. So we are looking to start this program. The plan is to kick off on June 6th, which I believe is 1 week after South San Francisco high schools are finished for the year. And so we're going to be starting to do outreach in late March. And the way we do that is really primarily through the schools, through any contacts that we have, counselors, principals, other youth, things like that. We'll have, my goal is to have 20, but last year we had 15. And so if we get another 15, that would be great too. And we'll have paid internships throughout the city. And each of these will be between 20 and 25 hours per week. The wage is $18 an hour, so a little more than minimum wage. Hopefully that makes it a little bit attractive. I know in this day and age, it is hard to keep up with wages, but for a starting program, we think that's pretty good. So we have a 1 week orientation, which I'll talk a little bit about, and a lot of that is driven by our program consultants, and it's really about being prepared for your first real work experience, all the things you want to know, all of the, everything from resume writing to conflict resolution to, written communication via email etiquette. But we also, as we'll talk about a little bit, do a lot of emphasis on self-care and emotional management and, those kinds of things that, I think we all need before we go into the workforce. And I don't think most of us got it. So, it really is a comprehensive training. And then throughout the program, we do one-on-one check-ins. So that's where I have my program consultant come in and work directly with the interns, also work with the supervisors. We train them as well in terms of, this isn't just a new employee that you can plop and check on monthly. We expect that each intern gets one-on-one and some coaching from their supervisor. So it really is designed for students with no employment experience. It is not exclusive to that, but we're not screening, for who has the best experience or who has straight A's. We're really taking anybody into the program who is eligible, and we'll look at these items here too. And so it's really designed so that it can be accessible to those who don't have employment experience and maybe haven't kind of had that leg up, through their academic program yet, but they're motivated and they want to work. So we are looking at high school students or 2022 graduates. So if you graduate this year and it's your first summer out of high school, you are qualified to attend. And the requirement is that they are attending school or graduated from a school in South San Francisco. So we really do our outreach with the public schools. But anybody, I don't know, I think there's one private school. If they apply, we won't turn them away. So they must be willing to work, obviously commit to the entire length of the program. So, you know, it is a 7-week program, and we expect, you know, we know that there might be, you know, here and there, people need to take a little bit of time off, but, you know, we want somebody who can go from start to finish. This next item, so they do need to be eligible to work in the US and have a work permit from school. That is something, you know, we are hoping that we can find either an alternative program or kind of a parallel program for those who are not eligible to work, who, you know, certainly could benefit from the training and other experiences. But we, you know, as part of these paid internships, unfortunately, we would not be able to include them in that. And then last year, just so you know, we had 126 interest forms, and we did a lottery. So because we only had 15 spaces, and so that really kind of speaks to the need to expand this program beyond the city. But at this point, that's what our capacity is. And so we do it by lottery again, because we're not trying to screen for just the you know, top candidates who with, you know, tons of volunteer experience. We really want it to be an equal opportunity for everybody who's interested and meets all the criteria. So I do want to introduce Susie. So this slide, as I said, the curriculum was developed by our program consultants last year. And I think I'd like to have her speak a little bit to kind of the goals of the curriculum.
Well, thank you so much, Leah, for that. Good evening, everybody. My name is Susie DeBon, and I'm actually here joined with my colleague, Troy Reinhardt. We're both going to be the program consultants for the YSIP program. Just to give you a little bit of background, we both work for the YMCA, and we both work for the Youth Workforce Development Program. So this is something that's totally up our alley and something that we love to do. So we're super excited to be part of this. And just had Leah had mentioned, like, part of our objectives at this moment is that we want to help the youth secure meaningful employment and help them with their educational goals. Even if that means having one-on-one case management, you know, talking about the options, like we want to help the youth become very self-sufficient and at the same time know that, you know, the resources and the support are there for them. We want to be able to lift up the youth voices and be able to address all the barriers that come with unemployment, and also be able to kind of like help out the youth if they have any, you know, situations happening at home. We all know that things go beyond the workplace. We know that a lot of things trickle into the personal life. So we also make space for stuff like that. We want to make sure you feel heard and, you know, validated. But mostly our program will focus on providing job readiness training. So, you know, the participants will be able to learn about essential workplace skills such as time management, organization, remote work skills, because that's the new lay of the land now. A lot about financial literacy, email etiquette, and as well as we're very heavy-handed on the trauma-informed and self-care and social emotional communication skills, just because we truly believe those are essential needs that you should go, you know, already ready into the workplace. And then a lot of our work is truly rooted on the concept of cultural humility. We hear you, we validate you, and we believe in you. So all those things in place it's going to help the process. Troy, would you want to add in anything?
I feel like you said everything great. Yeah, spot on.
Awesome. Yeah, so like Troy said, if I missed anything, you know, please feel free to reach out. I'm more than happy to leave my email in the chat box, but we are excited to be part of this program and our objectives are really clear. So we really hope that this is something that the youth will want to engage with because we are truly ready for this. So any questions, I'll leave my email in the chat box and then I'll hand it back to Leah.
Thank you. And we'll have time for questions at the end as well. But certainly. Okay. So I did want to talk about last year and how we did our program. So it was very similarly structured. You know, we were able to get internships in nearly every city department. I think some of the really small ones, like the city clerk's office, we weren't able to do that, but we had 4 in public works. We had one that split her time between HR and finance, learned a little bit about both. Everything from, somebody working with the IT department and helping to manage their help desk to, doing support for fire inspections. We had somebody in economic development who actually split their time between the 3 divisions. So planning, building, and economic development and housing. So that was a great kind of way to get exposure to all of those areas. And then I just wanted to highlight, we did a pre and post survey. And so there were a lot of questions on there. I'm not going to go over each one individually, but it was really striking. We asked about a lot of different professional skills, as well as interpersonal skills like resolving conflicts. And we asked at the beginning of the program, how confident were they in their ability to do these things? And then we asked the same question at the end of the program. And depending on the question, we saw movement anywhere from 75 to 90% on those questions. So that was really significant. And then we asked the question, if they enjoyed their internship. We asked if they received enough training and feedback, and every intern said yes. We asked if they would recommend it. Each one of them said yes. So we're hopeful that they did recommend it, and will continue to do so. And then this year, so last year we were still very much in COVID mode. So we did have, on-site work, but a lot of it was remote. We did all of the training remotely, which is, it's kind of the way things are these days, but we really do want to have some in-person time as a group with the interns, do some fun things, in person. And so we'll have a combination, at least one day in person of the virtual training, as well, or of the training, and then some virtual sessions as well. Last year we were planning for a graduation in person and really excited about it. That was right when the Delta variant started hitting and everybody kind of went back inside. So we didn't end up doing that, but we would like to do that as well. We have not figured out the logistics of this, but I'm really hoping. A lot of people were asking about tours of different city facilities. A lot of logistics to be figured out to do that, but I am hoping we might be able to make that happen this year so that people really get a sense of what we do as a city and the different capacities in which we work. And then something we did a little bit last year, and I really want to make this a bigger part of our efforts, is connecting interns with resources for after their internships, as well as those who maybe they didn't get drawn in the lottery, so we can refer them to either other city opportunities or within the community. So for example, library had their own grant-funded intern program last year, and they did both. They did our program and they did this state-funded program. And so we referred a lot of applicants to the library, and a lot of them were selected to be part of that program. So that worked out really well. And then finally, I think last year, we talked a little bit about, connecting our interns with this group as our city youth leadership. And we really want to make sure that we have a chance to do that this year. And I am really kind of open to your ideas on how that works, whether it's, maybe, a Q&A session, or maybe we pair people up with somebody just to ask questions of. There's a lot of ways that could work, and if you're interested, we would really be open to your ideas. And so that's it. So I, would definitely like your input on that last question, as well as input or questions about the program in general.
Thank you so much for the presentation. Does anyone have any questions or comments or input?
There's some hand raised.
Oh, are there? I need to open that. Oh, there are hands raised. I'm just gonna go in the order I see them. Vice Chair Adriano.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys, for putting on that presentation. I really liked how I think Susie brought up talking about like trauma-informed self-care, and I think it's really important to talk about that, especially when handling like a youth-focused program. But yeah, I was wondering, my question is for Leah. I know that you gave a list of the different city departments that were available to be shadowed. I guess is there any difference between that list and the list last year? I don't know, are there any new city departments that are available that take on interns?
That's pretty much all of the departments we have, the ones that I listed. And I think, I hope I didn't leave it off. We did have maybe 2 or 3 internships in the city manager's office and supporting city council. So I think I might have, I'm not looking at it right now, I might have skipped over that. Those were really important ones. But we do want to have as many as we can. We only have so many supervisors, and we don't want to spread them so thin that people don't get the attention that they need. So certainly if you have ideas in terms of like, maybe it's within a department, but in a different capacity, we would certainly approach those managers and see if we can work something out with them.
All right,
Thank you.
and sorry, next is Commissioner Yoshida.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. It was really interesting. I kind of want to try it. I'm going to absolutely pester Danielle with questions about it later. My question is just like, how does the selection process work? Like, are there any like prerequisites? I know you said you don't like focus on people who have extra volunteer hours or whatever, but how does it work, like your selection process?
Yeah. And I can answer that, and I could have, I know Troy was really involved in that last year, so he can jump in, but we take an interest form, and there's a few questions on there, in terms of really, are you a South San Francisco high school student? Are you able to commit to working on these dates? So those kinds of questions. Are you able to get a work permit from school if you're currently a student? And then there are one-on-one interviews just to, again, these are not questions about your experience, but these are questions about, why do you want to be a part of this program? And what do you hope to learn from a program like this? And, just to really make sure that they're ready to commit to the program. That's really the primary goal, and that, maybe they don't have, school commitments that are going to interfere with it. And from there, what we did was we did a lottery, and we ended up, we took the same number of students from each high school. So South San Francisco, El Camino, and Baden. And so it was, equitable among the 3 schools. We didn't want to end up with like, the majority from one school or something like that. And so it was literally, a number draw that we did without names. So Troy, is it anything else about the selection process that you want to share?
I feel like you covered pretty much everything. But yeah, like you said, with the lottery process, it was number based. So everyone kind of, I'm trying to remember exactly how we did it, but like you said, we picked 5 from each school, and everyone I think was assigned a number, and then whichever number was pulled by the number generator was the person that was selected for the program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think we did it via Zoom and had some people observing as well. So we can facilitate that. The other thing I wanted to mention is we did try to match students up with their interests. So if they had specific interests, we would try to match them with those departments. It didn't always work out that, there were this same number of people for each department that were interested, but we did the best we could based on where they were express their interest.
Oh, thank you.
The next hand is Commissioner Leon.
I actually was really lucky enough to be in this internship last year, and I think it was like a great program. I know people from El Camino who did it as well, and they really enjoyed it. And I can like sort of I really liked my supervisor. She was really flexible, especially since I had leadership training. And so she was really flexible and she was really good. We communicated really well, and the program taught me a lot with like emailing and like an office environment and everything. And I really enjoy it and I really recommend it. And also, yeah, the interview is like pretty easy. It doesn't really feel like an interview. Yeah. And I also really like the training as well. They really do prepare you for like your resume, your cover letter. Like, I think we even had to do like a fake interview as well. So it's just like overall like a really well program, like a really great program. And yeah.
Thank you. And Danielle, I'm sorry I missed you. I would have acknowledged you earlier. I recognize faces here from other meetings, and I don't always remember where I know you from, but thank you for speaking up.
And the next hand is Commissioner Cyrus.
Yeah, thank you so much for the presentation. I really enjoyed hearing about it. But my question was, I understand it runs from June 6th to July 29th. My question is that let's say someone's able to get their work permit June 10th or right after that deadline starts, would they not be able to join? Is the deadline June 6th, or how does that work?
I think we can, I think we could probably, if it's just a couple of days like that, we could probably work around that. That first week we do training. So it is, a mandatory to attend, but we could probably work around the actual, working part of it in a way that, would be somewhat flexible. So, if it's, I can't get my work permit until the middle of July, then that would be a problem.
All right, the next hand is Commissioner Lee.
Hello. Yeah, thank you for the presentation. Like, I've always heard about this program around the city. I just thought like it was like the coolest thing, or it's just like really cool. And like, I was just wondering, like, I don't know, like, I guess like I was just, if this was like part of your program, like I know that like a lot of people don't think about it like when they're like entering a job, but like just like how to file like complaints, I guess. Just like either like whether it's like complaints with like, the office environment or like your boss or coworkers, and then just like walking people through that. Because I guess that's just something that like a lot of people don't anticipate going into a job because, it's like kind of like taboo or yeah. So
No, it's a really good point. And we rely on our program staff to kind of, work with them individually if any issues come up. But I think it is important for people to know, if we can at least cover the basics on, as an employee, you have certain rights and you deserve to be treated with respect. And you're going to have, an HR department, you're going to have a supervisor, and you need to know that it's okay to speak up. So that's great.
Yeah, that was a question I would never have thought of. Thank you. The next hand is Commissioner Hua.
Hi again. Really love the program. I think a suggestion that I would add to kind of have our involvement into the program would be, I think it would be interesting to maybe give a panel on public service careers and pathways into public service. And then we talked about this, but we'd be happy to have some of them join our meeting to also have that aspect of what it is to engage in government and public service. And so kind of having that juxtaposed, so it would provide them more opportunities to like, how do I engage in local government beyond our program? Or if I want to pursue a career in like local government or politics, this is always like what we talk about, like the best indicator and also the most realistic depiction of what it might be to perhaps go into like a career in like politics or like city council. So I think we'd be happy to have them join our meetings. That was just my suggestion.
That's a great suggestion. Yeah, we'll think about that. And so you're thinking of having like a panel of city employees or just?
Yeah, that could definitely work. I'm sure some of the city council members or not even city council members, you might be able to get some of the council members, just our commission members, and then maybe some of us could also join too and talk a little bit about what it's like to have a career in public service.
Great. Okay. Thank you. Great suggestion.
Yeah, I don't see any more hands, but I love the presentation, and Danielle told me all about their internship last year, and it sounds really cool. And so I'm glad we're doing this again. I was going to, oh yeah, so for us to input, like, that was a great suggestion from Melissa, but whatever y'all want, like however, like for us to give input or for them to like come to our meetings, we could do a panel discussion, or like they could ask us questions, but any way to get them involved and get us to know like what they're doing and to see if they're interested, like that's important.
Great. Yeah, I'll have to look at your schedule too, and whether it's having them come to share what they're doing or hear from you or just observe. I'm flexible on that, and I just think it'd be great for them to connect with this group in some way. So we'll see what works out.
Oh, Sharon, you're on mute.
No, I'm not. No, there I am. I just, one thing I was going to share is when the applications come out, it would be really great if the commission could help spread the word among your your friends at school, just so because you're respected, and just talk up the program and help us promote that it really is a pretty it's a great program.
I actually did have a question. Are commissioners able to apply? Because like, would there be like a conflict of interest or anything?
Now I'm wondering.
I can't apply because I'm not in school, but
in other commissions, I don't think you can be an employee and a commissioner at the same time.
You cannot, and that's why I paused for a minute. But that's a full-time employee and a commissioner. We'll have to talk to the city attorney and get back to you on that.
Because technically, commissioners are employees, right, Sharon?
No, actually, not anymore. Back in the day, when you were on payroll, you were sort of quasi part-timers, but now the commissioners are paid differently. So that's true. They're not really employees anymore. Well, we'll have to get back to you.
Yeah, we'll have to look into that, look at the ordinances and things like that. So that's a good question.
All right. Are there any other hands or anyone who wants to ask a question? I don't see any, but thank you so much for the presentation. I'm really excited for this. If you ever want to give us any updates on the program, or like right before it's about to start or whatever, like totally, I'm very excited.
We'll be posting, once we get our flyer and application out, we'll be posting it. We'll make sure that, that the staff here can get it out to you. So you know that it's been posted, and we're happy to do an update at any time. Right.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us here and sharing our program, and we're really excited to get started.
Have a good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for the platform.
Have a nice night. All right. The next item is Roman numeral 8, job train resume building.
Hello, thank you, Chair Measy. And Ashley, may I share screen if that's okay? And while I'm getting that going, I'm actually going to take a little bit of a temperature on the room here. How many people have a resume already? Show of hands. Oh my gosh, this is a great room. All right. How many of you like your resume? That's a tougher one. Ethan, I love Ethan's hand. He's like, maybe. Okay, that's pretty good too. Okay, we're gonna get you all 100% for both resume and liking your resume too. I will give a really quick presentation, but before I start this is jumping right into it, a bit of background on myself and on Job Train. Job Train is a nonprofit that has been in the Bay Area for over 50 years, providing job training and career services to the residents of really broadly the Bay Area. We've been headquartered in Menlo Park for many, many years, and I'm the regional director for our South San Francisco Career Center. We are located inside of the Economic Advancement Center, the EAC downtown. So if you're ever wanting to get one-on-one advice on your resume with me, come on down and see us. I'll also drop my email into the chat. But that's a long story short to say that we are in and around the area of workforce development. I myself actually come from private sector recruitment. So I spent the last 10 years actually as a headhunter for a lot of, I'm just going to be honest, tech companies here in the Bay Area. So I helped companies like the mobile app Calm build their marketing teams and their finance teams here in the Bay Area. So I'm very familiar with what makes a very flashy resume, buzzwords and all that good stuff. But the most important thing for you to know about your resume is it needs to be distinct to you. So with that being said, there's a couple reasons why you might have a resume. The most obvious one is to maybe facilitate finding a new job. But there are a few others, and I'll put these in front of you just to get your juices flowing. Potential purposes of a resume. When you're first starting out, it is definitely to help you find your first job, your first couple of jobs probably. But as you start to gain experience and as you start to, as a lot of you are already thinking about your career path, it can also help you understand and identify your experience and understand where you might have gaps in your knowledge or your skills or your technical abilities, right? So by putting everything on one sheet of paper and taking a look at it from, I say, a 30,000 foot view rather than, being in the weeds of your career, you can really understand a bit more about your story arc and what it says and what it's saying to an employer across the table from you. So yeah, of course, I also always suggest putting together a resume if you're looking for a raise. It's a great way to showcase to your employer how marketable you are, especially with a market like it is now, and it's only going to get better and better for us as candidates on the market. So keep that in mind. When I say the actual purpose of a resume, it really just gets you the opportunity to interview. You get the job, not your resume. So while having a really good resume is super important because it does open that door and it does get that employer or that maybe your manager to buy into you as a person and into your experience, but ultimately you're the one who's going to have to do that interview. You're that one that's going to have to wow your employer. So really the resume, it opens the door. And I always say this with a resume, right? It's like the recruiting funnel. You apply to 100 jobs and you hopefully get 70 interviews. That'd be like amazing numbers. But you should be getting every single interview for every job that you apply for. If you're not, rework your resume. Either you're applying for the wrong jobs or your resume isn't showcasing your experience well enough. Just little tidbits to keep in mind. None of you guys are starting from scratch, which is amazing. I never suggest starting from scratch mid-career. It's extremely difficult. I always suggest keeping all of your information in one master resume. So a lot of you already have a ton of work experience, whether it's internships, summer jobs. I babysat a lot before I could, work formally. And I actually had a family that would be a reference for me. So I would showcase, the caregiving skills that I had before I had, a degree or anything like that to showcase. And by keeping this master resume that has everything, when you're going back and looking at your experience, once again, you can really see where you might have gaps, where you might be missing something. And by looking at your background compared to your maybe ideal person or the person you want to be, you can see the steps you might take to follow their path, whether it be a master's degree, whether it be further training, whether it be getting experience in different industries. By keeping it all in one place and by removing yourself from it a little bit, it'll help you understand this throughout your career. Always, 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 always highlight your skills and experience. Education is very, very valuable. I do not want to discount it, especially when you're applying for your first couple jobs, but your functional experience, real world, will always trump degrees. So showcase that experience, real world experience. And if you don't think you have any real world experience, I challenge you to think about what you do in addition to school, or what you do at school, because that is all real world experience. And then prioritize your information. This is the trickiest part for you guys at your career stage, because we ask for 1-page resumes. And I hate to say it, but y'all got to keep it to 1 page. Unfortunately, no matter how many internships and how many things that you've done as a recent graduate, you got to keep it to 1 page. I know that's a scary thought, but if you want help doing it, I'm like the queen of tiny margins. I will help you get it all on 1 page. But remember, the more concise you are, the better it is for the reader, right? Because recruiters only spend seconds on your resume. I was very much in this world, so I'm going to skip over some of these. You guys know a lot of this. We'll come back to these. But this is how long a recruiter is going to spend on your resume. Ready? That's it. You're in or out. That was all the time you had to grab their attention. So if it's not concise and your most impressive bullets aren't at the top, I want you to rethink it. And I know a lot of us lean on education as being our most exciting thing, but I challenge you to, again, maybe put your skills and expertise at the top and education as a check mark at the bottom. There are a couple different, I imagine people, because people have resumes, they're very familiar with functional and chronological. I would suggest early on in your career, either one is going to do you quite well. Does anybody have any specific questions about resumes before I keep going? Because this is all very broad, but I want to sort of deep dive in what's interesting to you guys.
I have a question, if that's okay. I'm actually applying for jobs right now, and like I've been sending my resumes like a bunch of places, and like I haven't really been hearing like back from anyone. And I was just wondering, like, because like I was told that like you're not supposed to have like colors and stuff on your resume, right? And it's supposed to be concise. It's only supposed to be going down, and like your like most recent experience should be towards the top and stuff like that. But I also think like my resume is just like kind of, I don't know, kind of like boring, just because it's just black and white and like the same font. But like you said, yeah, 7 seconds, I guess.
7 seconds. You can always use color. I'm not opposed to color, but like, don't make it so bright that I'm like, what does this say? Like, I shouldn't be questioning what it says. Make sure it's a nice dark color. So I suggest dark blues, dark purples, dark greens are good, but not a lot of like bright yellows, bright pinks, because it's hard to read on the page. Like, I never want to second guess, like, what's this person's email or what's this person's phone number? I need to be able to get a hold of you. So I do agree. I would keep it sort of concise. The one, I will give you a one, but there's always a but to that. If you're a designer, if you're a visual or graphic designer, words mean nothing to you. It's all visual, right? So if you're applying to design roles, I would actually say the opposite. Showcase your creativity, showcase what you can do on your resume, on your portfolio, because a traditional resume isn't what designers use to get jobs. Those creative roles are in their own sort of bucket, if you will. But Russell, I'm going to drop my email in there. And if you'd like to work on your resume together, I'd be more than glad to find a few minutes, okay?
Yeah, thanks so much.
Everybody gets private consultations. And I think it's Genevieve. Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am, that's me. Okay, so my question is there anything in particular, like in regards to experience, is there anything in particular that we should avoid putting on the resume? So like, for example, like let's say you're applying for like Joanne's Fabrics or something, and then you put like you have a hobby of knitting. Like, would that be kind of like bad to put on the resume, or like?
I think that's great. So technically speaking, I'm gonna speak legally, and then I'm gonna speak about reality. Legally speaking, you don't want to put anything on your resume that shows how old you are, what gender you are, if you have kids, if you're married, your social security number, pictures, all of that should not be on your resume, because it can cause somebody to have an unconscious bias. So we want to avoid any of those kinds of things. However, knitting is a personal hobby. And if I was hiring at Joann's Fabrics, I would probably look for somebody who has an interest in crafting. Just going to say it. Like, I'm not going to hire somebody to work at PetSmart who says that they hate dogs. You know, it just doesn't make any sense. So I think it's beneficial. I actually have a hobbies part of my resume, and I'm super into puzzles. Like, I'm always doing a puzzle. There's always a puzzle at my house. I'm obsessed with cappuccinos. I drink a lot of espresso, probably too much. I had my last coffee here with me tonight. And then my last bit is I'm a learning hockey fan. My husband is big into hockey. I've never been big into it, but I'm learning about it. So 3 random facts about me that make me slightly more human and slightly harder to reject on paper. Erin, go ahead.
Yeah, from your, I don't know if you're going to touch upon this in your resume, in your presentation, but from your previous experience in working in recruiting, is there like any glaring red flags that like when you look at a resume, you just are like immediately like, no?
Misspellings. I had somebody apply to a job actually at Job Train, and they had misspelled university. Oh, it killed me because it was one of their headings. So it wouldn't be text that you would traditionally look at or read over 100 times over again. But that misspelling, I was a big no because of it. So my misspellings are absolutely a no. I would be very, very conscious that my resume is as perfect as I want it to be.
I'm just jumping in here to second that. I've seen, I can't even tell you guys how many resumes in my life, a lot of them, and I'm a real stickler. If you didn't get somebody to proofread your resume, then I can't be proofreading your work, right? You know what I mean? And so, yeah, it better be darn perfect. Because it's your one shot, man. I mean, it's like if you can't present yourself well in a in advance, what are you going to do on the spot? So anyway, I'm 100%. I agree with that. I hate to sound like a pencil neck bureaucrat, but really it should be perfect.
It's true. It's true. I agree, Sharon. And I would say that is Sharon said it best, right? You are putting your best foot forward. This is the college application of, everything. It's the job application. My joke to other adults is it's my Tinder profile. It's the 5 best pictures I have ever taken in my whole life. Okay. It's, it's going to be very, very polished and to the point because I want that person swiping to say yes. Sounds terrible to say it that way, but make it perfect.
I have a question. I can't figure out how to raise my hand on here, but I know a lot of you guys are in high school still, but a lot of you are in college. And one thing that I struggled with was knowing when I should start weeding out like my high school experience. So how deep into college should you be when you should stop mentioning you did youth and government day or you interned somewhere in high school?
Good question, Ashley. Some of my college experience actually still comes back on my resume. I have been out of college for north of 10 years. But when it comes to working with youth, like when I was applying to this job, my only experience working with youth is during my college years, but it was valuable for me to add that back into my resume. So I would say as soon as you can fill up a page with your professional experience, with experience you are paid to do, it's going to trump other experience that is not paid because that's just it between work and non-work, right? I'm paid to do something. It means that I probably do it pretty well versus I'm volunteering to do something. So try to fill it with paid experience is I think a good way to think about it, or experience where you have to be voted into something like commission. Those are very, very impressive to always keep on. But if you can't fill up a page with it, lean into either your high school experience or lean into the classes that you're taking too. That's the other area where you can usually add quite a bit of meat to the bones. But I would say, Ashley, like on average, a page of your resume should cover about 7 to 10 years. Like when I used to look at a VP of marketing's resume, it was 3 pages long because they have 30 years of experience to showcase. So once you have about 7 years of professional experience, you should be dropping a lot of that other stuff unless it relates to the job. If it makes you more marketable or more dynamic, keep it on as a extra activities or extracurricular or additional experience. That additional experience could be years ago, but it showcases a different dimension.
Okay, last question. I also heard that you shouldn't put your address on your resume. And then second thing was your GPA. When should you put that on your resume versus not put it on your resume?
So your GPA, I kid you not, I've gotten resumes for VPs of marketing that still showcase their 3.6 GPA. 3.6 was not great. I didn't put my 3.6 GPA on my resume because I didn't think it was great. If your GPA is over 4.0 or it's 4.0 in high school, keep it on all the way through college. That's a showcase. If you have a really impressive SAT score, I've seen those on resumes up to 5 or 6 or 7 years into their professional career. Again, some leave it on when they're 20 years in. I don't really care about it that much because standardized testing has changed. But it is definitely something to add in. The best way to say it is it takes up little, 3 little parts. Like to put a GPA, it's three dots on your resume, but it could be the difference between somebody who didn't put it on and you who put 4.0. Right. So that 7-second recruiter is going to lean to that. So I would say the advice of leaving it on, again, if it is impressive, that means something different to everyone. And then I would say your GPA and probably test scores are disappearing again when you've hit about 5 or 7 years of professional experience. But again, if you're over 4.0, it might stay on for 20 years. Again, it's only 3 little dots, so it doesn't take up that much space. A long story short for there's no good answer as long as it looks good. That's all I have prepared. Sharon, anything else that I should add to it? You're the expert here with me, so.
I think that's awesome. I wish, boy, this is really great. And I would really encourage you guys, take advantage of Job Train. This is available to everyone and it's paid for by the city. So it's free to you guys. I think it's a tremendous resource. Thank you so much. I learned a lot. I haven't done a resume in a while. Do you do retirement resumes? I don't.
I'm ready for a retirement resume.
Second careers.
We need you in the nonprofit sector. So
it's really great. Thank you.
Thanks everyone for having me. My email is there. Please, please, please get in touch if I can help with anything. If I miswrote my email, Ashley has it. Ask her.
Thank you so much. That was fun. Erin, for like a few years now, Erin has been my resume person. I'm just like, Erin, what do I do? How do I format this? So that was nice.
Which is kind of comical because I don't really know what I'm doing either.
I'm gonna send my resume to Erin from
now. We are moving on to Roman numeral number 9, Youth Town Hall. So I'm going to preface this with, this was going to be Youth in Government Day, but then shortly after last meeting, I was kind of informed that it's just like not going to happen, most likely. But then last week, it was like completely confirmed. It's just not going to happen this year. And so Sharon and I had like the same thought, but in separate heads at separate times. And we like mentioned it. And so I like the idea to have a youth town hall to kind of supplement youth, the not having Youth in Government Day sounded like a good idea to us. And then we wanted to bring that idea here. Last week, the city council and the school board had their like joint subcommittee meeting and they kind of mentioned this. And so, yeah, what do we all think? And I was thinking for like the youth town hall, probably like either about like close to the end of the school year or like just in the summer. And it could be probably at the South City Theater since it's bigger than the little theater at El Camino. And there could be like a city council member there, the mayor, maybe some department heads, some of the youth commission, I don't know, whoever, but like a youth-centric town hall where like the youth can ask questions to city officials about like youth issues.
And Ethan, I just also suggest you might want to include a school board member or Shantara or somebody from the school district.
We're brainstorming right now.
So, yeah, I'm just throwing that out there for the group to consider.
Yeah. Sam, or Commissioner Avila Gomez.
Sorry. Since we're thinking about having this at like, again, just hypothetically speaking, since you mentioned it might hypothetically be in South City's, our theater, would that mean that the event would be held like during non-school hours, like on a weekend or after?
Probably. I would assume so. Because like if I would like, yeah, because I think having as many youth there as possible, it's hard for a lot to like get out of school to go to something.
Yeah, because I was talking about CAP. Yeah, because I was taking we have AP Go this semester and we were talking about Youth Government Day. And he was just telling us that like people they miss school to go to City Hall and everything. So that's why I just wanted to clarify.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you do miss like a few days of school for Youth and Government Day, but I think since we're not doing it this year, just making it open to everybody is probably the best option, just to get as much involvement as possible. But I mean, if we want, I don't think the school district would be open to doing just like a senior specific thing where they would have to miss school for. So I think doing it like after school one day or on a weekend is probably just easier. I see Commissioner Hailu.
Yeah, hey guys. I just wanted to mention one thing that sort of came to mind while we were talking about this. You're sort of like hinting towards it, Ethan, but I was unsure if we were going to have this event on a weekend as opposed to sometime after school. For me, I think that the main thing that I thought of was to increase engagement really among the students. After school would probably be the best option, just so that there'll also be an incentive for kids to come, since they can sort of hang out after school and just jump right into the town hall. And then the other thing was that if we can somehow reach out to some of those teachers, either El Camino or South City, so they can also incentivize the students to come out, potentially offering extra credit. That's something that teachers are usually pretty willing to do, especially for their students that are also interested in coming out to these kind of events. But that would be something super easy that, a couple of us could plan on just reaching out to some of the high schoolers or some of the high school teachers, so that there's an even bigger incentive and hopefully a bigger turnout for this type of event.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I think promoting it as much as possible is key, especially on like social media, but especially like getting the teachers to tell people. I don't know how close to after school we want it to be, because I don't know if I don't think I think it would be really hard to plan two separate events. So like having one event at like one high school, but like marketing it to all the high schoolers is probably easier. So like probably like in the evening if it's a school day, but I don't know. I think that's like more specific logistics. Because Sharon, like theoretically, if we were to do something like this, it would be like city staff working with the school district to like plan a time and a date, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I just was thinking about the option of a hybrid meeting, and I don't know if that would be possible or not, or what the group would think of that. Like if you could either Zoom in or be in person, just something I'd be interested to hear what you guys think about that.
Kind of going off that, I think if it was hybrid, it would probably have to be at a city facility, right, Sharon? Because that's where all of our IT equipment is set up.
Well, although the school board does do hybrid meetings, I think it's some in that cafeteria at Baden or wherever they do their, I don't know. But yeah, it could be at a city venue. Ours just aren't that large. Like the council chambers, I think holds about 125. It just depends. I don't know if they do it in theater, if the theaters have that Zoom capability. I don't know if they have it or not. The school theaters.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Russell, I saw your hand was up, but then it went down. Did you?
Oh yeah, I just wanted to say that, yeah, I like the idea that Takai said about like just having it right after school. Cause like, I don't know, I've like been out of high school for a bit but I just know that like I wouldn't want to like go back to school like just like after like some time has passed, just because it's just like, or whether like if it's like, you know, like a play or like, you know, like a sporting event like where like friends are at, but like it's like different than when it's like a town hall, I guess. So if it's like right after, that just seems more convenient and like just better for outreach, I guess, just because like, or just better for participation.
My one concern with that is like, if it's going to be at South City, having it like a half an hour after school is over would be hard for like El Camino students to get over, or like vice versa.
Right. I mean, you can advertise the free shuttle. I like the free shuttle. I mean, like it's like pretty convenient because it's like goes right there. But yeah, like you would have to like do a lot of logistical like planning, but I think you could do it. I don't know.
Aaron, your hand is up.
Yeah, just like an idea. I really like the idea of the event. I think it's a great idea to, I mean, I think it's a great event to, I know it's not the primary like reason, but it's a good way to get the youth commission's name out there and just like, oh, this is something that we hosted. And like maybe we could even have like one of us like be the, what do you call the person who like conducts the questions?
MC.
Yeah. Like maybe one of us could be the ones to do that. I don't know. But yeah, I do agree with your concerns with just having it after school. I don't know if there would be a better time to have that. Because it might be a little much to be asking like people from different high schools to be going to a different high school immediately after. But I'm like, would they even want to go even more so if it was on a weekend? I don't know.
Yeah, and then we have to be mindful, like Sam said, like we should be mindful of their sports stuff. So like we don't want to do it when there's like a sports thing going on. But Sam, your hand is up.
Yeah, I just wanted again to reiterate that point when we're talking about right after school. And then also my sophomore year, it was like the fall semester. We had Jackie Spears. Was it Jackie Spears? I think it was. She held like that event at it was like a town hall. I don't know what it was.
No, I remember.
Yeah, it was a town hall.
She was there at South City. That's the point I'm trying to make. And then also a lot of social studies teachers were offering extra credit. And even though it was later in the evening, a lot of kids still went. And there was like a large presence of high school students. So I don't think like doing it in the evening is like, I think if with the right form of advertisement, I think it can work well, especially because again, going right after school, if we're trying to bring people from Baden and El Camino to South City, it can be a little bit difficult. And then also again, just reiterating sports. And then I know someone mentioned a hybrid meeting. But I know our South City video art, Mr. Boyd, he's really good at his job. And he also he does the YouTube lives, and he does it for like our like plays and musicals and folkloric, and I don't know if he does it for yeah, he's done it for band as well. So that could be an option, like having it played on YouTube live. The only thing is people like wouldn't be able to like I guess live comment in, we could try to talk to Mr. Boyd and see like what we can do around that. But that's an option if we wanted to go hybrid, like possibly having it YouTube live, because South City already has like that tech background already for our theater.
Yeah, Melissa.
Yeah, I like a lot of the ideas. I was actually wondering if we would be allowed to do like catering or like goods to like incentivize people to come. Because like I personally know, like for example, I think people would be very intrigued. Like even if it's not food, but like a bag or like some incentive, like a raffle or something, like literally anything could get more people to want to come. But I also don't know like logistically, like I think food would probably be the easiest way, and like partnering with like a local Saw City business. But I also don't know like logistically if that works and like health wise. So I was kind of like interested in hearing.
It's funny you said that, but like also I was thinking like because they don't allow food in the little theater, so I don't know if they allow it there. But I was actually talking with um, a friend who's on the Muni, like essentially the Muni Yak, but it's like the SFMTA Youth Transit Advisory Board. It has this long name, but they had a youth town hall like last summer, and they got a ton of complaints from the young people who went that there was no food. So I don't know if that's something we want to consider, but like if we can't eat at the theater, we can't eat at the theater.
Could
But
you
young
outside the
people are
theater?
always hungry, so I don't know.
Yeah, just put it outside though, and then like
Okay.
have it before, and like when they come out, they get the food, and like it forces them to stay the whole time.
I love food, so I'm okay with this. Are there any other ideas?
Oh, yeah. So would this be something we're planning for this year?
I would, yes.
Okay, and then when do the high schools stop? When do they go to summer break? Sorry.
I think end of May, right? About, I think.
Oh, okay.
I'm
So
at the high school. Wait, that was a question to the high schoolers here.
Wait, sorry, can you repeat it?
When is high school over?
Oh,
End of May,
May
right?
28th. Well,
Okay.
May 28th is the graduate promotion day. May 27th is the last day of school is the 26th. Oh, 26th. I have the schedule open on my computer right now. Yeah, I knew it was like somewhere, but the graduation day is 27th. Yeah, Friday 27th for both high schools.
Okay. So do we think it should probably be like before the end of the year, right? Because in the summer people go on vacation.
yeah, I
Right.
say we should check with probably maybe if we wanted to have it at South City, we could check with the person who runs ASB and like just like confirm a day, I guess. I don't know if that's someone we'd have to go through.
Probably because I think that's their activities director.
Mr.
Sorry.
Oh, that's our ASB advisor is Miss Dearborn.
Okay.
Sharon, sorry, my dog. Do we have to get approval from the school board for this?
I think we would probably, yeah. I mean, it depends on if the city is sponsoring a youth town hall, we could do it without their approval. But if you want them to participate, and if we want to collaborate with the government classes, we would want to be collegial about it and share the idea and make sure that they're good with it. The subcommittee seemed pretty supportive. So yeah, I don't know formally that it needs to be an agenda item at a board meeting, but I think we would want to make sure the school board was generally on board and the staff.
Yeah.
I think they would have to know about it because we would have to write out a facility request form to just reserve the auditorium.
Yeah, absolutely. We would have to coordinate dates and make sure it's not a test date or a big something. I know you guys have a lot going on in the spring.
And if we want Dr. Moore and a trustee to go, I think they would have to know.
Absolutely. If I mean, maybe you want to get somebody from the private sector, maybe you want to get somebody from the biotech world, or I mean, we'd need to hear what the students would find the most interesting, beneficial.
That's a good segue into who do we want to be at the youth town hall? My initial thought was having like the mayor, having like the city manager, having a school board member, Dr. Moore, and then maybe like some city department heads, just to like if there's a question about anything regarding like services for the youth or like anything going on in the city, that there would be someone to answer the question, and like maybe someone from the county, like a county supervisor or something. But like, what do you all think? Is there anyone like that shouldn't be there that like we were like think should be there? Danielle.
I think it'd be cool to bring out James Coleman just because he's like young and like
I feel like it would be easier to like sort of like go up to him and stuff. And also he's also from like, you know, he went to South City High and like Oklahoma, so I think it'd be really cool to bring him in.
That's a good point, actually. Is there like a city department that you think there should be someone there? Like we could have the head of the library, or we could have the head of Parks and Rec, or the police chief, or like somebody to answer questions. Aaron.
I don't know how I feel about like having someone from like a very like niche department, like the library department. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe, I don't know if we could, I feel like, I don't know, like how many people do we want to invite? Because if it's only going to be like a 2 hour like event, I mean, like, I don't know. We don't want to like not waste their time, but like
Yeah.
make sure that they'll have like some level of involvement. Because if we have like 5 different people there, it might be like a little bit much.
That's a good point. I was thinking, because like I'm sure there would be like police related questions. So like having the police chief there to answer questions, I think would make sense. Just knowing like the youth in the city, like that's something they care about and have opinions on. Russell.
Yeah, I was just wondering, yeah, I agree. I believe, yeah, like there's probably going to be a lot of like questions, especially about policing. So like, yeah, is it just structured as like, just like youth just raising, or just like, I guess like, yeah, youth like raising questions about like issues that affect them? Or like, is it like, yeah, that's like what the town hall is mainly supposed to be about, right?
I think we can kind of determine like what we want it to be. If this is like, because this is our event essentially. So I don't know if we have opinions on formatting, like how we want it to be set up, we can talk about it.
What would you guys think about submitting questions in advance so that the speakers could be prepared to answer them? I'm not saying every question. I mean, you could have an open forum portion, but it might be nice if the speakers could give some thought to the questions before they come. Just a thought, because you don't want to ambush somebody, with pepper them with. I mean, we invite them to come and be in this forum. Of course, you know what I mean. I'm just not all the questions, but maybe if at least they would have an opportunity to maybe bring someone else with them or do some research before they come. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah, I don't know, because I know at the Jackie Spear thing, they had just people write on papers and then they would like hand it to the end of the row, and then that would be given to like Jackie's people, and they would like filter the ones that they wanted. But like, what do you all think? Because like we could send out like a Google form, like, oh, if you want to ask a question, topic, and then like what your question is, and like we could do something like that, and then maybe we could like as a commission, like, or like a few of us like pick which ones we like and like think that like would be beneficial to ask, because like I'm sure like a bunch of people will ask the same thing, or like we could just have people ask live questions, I guess, but that might make the speakers uncomfortable. But I don't know. I see hands. Russell, your hand's up. Oh, is it? Okay. Melissa.
Yeah, I was actually wondering, like, if we're submitting questions, I don't really know how I feel about like those questions where it's like it's asked to everyone, because those take way too long. Like, I think like if we have a submission, it should be to a specific person, like in the like out of the selection process, and then have like it be targeted, just so that the process goes faster if we're like getting it beforehand. But if there are questions that, I mean, I would probably I would suggest constricting the number of questions that are asked to all of them to like 2 or 3, like, because they just take way too long. And that's like Aaron was saying, like, especially if you want to invite more people, it just doesn't make sense. So that would be my one suggestion in terms of getting questions beforehand.
That's a good idea. Yeah, because I think especially like we should know who's going to be like on the panel beforehand, and if it's like a school question, it won't be to like the whole group. It'll just be to like Dr. Moore. Aaron.
Just an idea. Maybe the way we could structure it is like have them like all sit like at a table, like on the stage, and then like give them each of a platform to talk about like something, I don't know, anything that's pertaining to youth that's occurring on like their level of government that they'd want just like to talk about, and just like to let the youth know like, oh, this is going on in the state government if we have like an assembly member or someone. And then yeah, I really like Melissa's idea of like having like targeted questions, or if we do have like a Google form. The main thing about Google form though is that we could like easily like filter through like the questions of like we could easily like have some of us like go through all of them and see if there's any repetitions, and just like, I don't know, like we could propose the question to the table and see which one of them wants to answer, or if like multiple of them wants to answer. I don't know, just an idea.
And then Danielle says they agree with Aaron, and it would be safer to do the Google form. Takai, your hand's up.
Pretty much same thing as what everyone else was saying with the Google form, except I think a good way that we can use it is if we include all the speaker names. And so hopefully by the time we finalized who we want to be a part of the presentation, we can list all those names, and then people can direct questions according to, you know, the specific department or their area of expertise. That way, hopefully we know beforehand, or the speakers will know beforehand the kind of questions that they're hoping to answer. That way, again, I guess every student that attends can know too who's going to be at that presentation. But yeah, just including the names of the speakers, I think, and then underneath that there will be a section where they can ask specific questions. That'll probably be a good way to make it a little bit more streamlined.
And we could even do a thing where like, oh, if we can make an announcement like, oh, if you weren't able to fill out the form beforehand, there are pieces of paper where you can write your question down and it may be asked or something, just to be like more equitable. But I did also like Aaron's idea of like, I think it was Aaron, of talking about, of like having each speaker like talk about, oh, this is what's going on that the youth might be interested in, blah, blah, blah. Like I think like having like each of them give like a little spiel would be nice.
So I guess if this is something we pursue, what are the next steps? Would it be first to let the school board know?
I think that, Sharon and I can collaborate and find a date that works best with the school board in South City. And then
Maybe by the next, oh, sorry, Sharon.
I'm sorry, I was gonna say, if there's a subcommittee, you might want to appoint a subcommittee to really work on this and then come back to the whole commission with a recommendation, or not, it's just a suggestion. But yeah, we would need to work with the school district to find a date and make sure that they get the consensus of the board that they support this. And you guys could keep working on the format and this, who exactly would be the speakers and such, while we're on our end trying to set the date and make sure that the parties, school board and council, are okay with it.
yeah, I think it might be like if we wait every month, that's going to slow things down, which we want to avoid, because obviously we couldn't do youth government because we just didn't have enough time to plan it. And if we're thinking before May 26th for sure, then we definitely need to start thinking about that like this week.
Yeah, a subcommittee might be good to just keep the momentum going.
Yeah, I agree. So I really want this to happen. This will be awesome.
Melissa had a really good idea in the chat.
Oh. Could be for civic. Yes, I agree. Yes, after this meeting, the civic engagement community subcommittee, we're gonna coordinate and actually meet. Because we couldn't do it for Youth in Government Day, but we'll do it for this.
Maybe by like the next meeting, we could agree like, oh, we could have at least like a speaker list and like at least have
Yeah.
The subcommittee like reach out to the events coordinator at South City.
Yeah. And I'll work with Ashley and Sharon to see like what specific things the subcommittee should talk about and discuss and like come up with ideas for, and we'll go from there. Does anyone have anything else on this? Are we all excited? Do we think this is cool and good? Okay. Russell, it looks like you had an idea.
Oh yeah, I just had a question. Would like, I guess like reaching out to the events coordinator at South City or whoever handles that, would that like the date be like, it would be discussed but probably not like finalized, right? Or just like, it would just be like, because like I think yeah, that's like one of the most important things, just finalizing or just thinking about a date.
Yeah, I the date is important to me because I want to not work that day. I don't know. That's like a Sharon question.
I guess I don't know what the events coordinator, I don't know them at the high school, so you'd have to help us out on that. What function do they have, Russell? I mean, like, does each school have an event coordinator on staff, or are you talking about the student events coordinator, right? I don't know how that works in the school district.
I think Russell, because each high school has the like director of activities or the events person, and like they are the like point person. But for this, since we would probably just be approaching the school district itself, I'm sure they would just like funnel you down to that person.
Maybe we could have like a general like time frame of when we'd want to have the event, like, oh, early May, so we could just start pitching it to people like, oh, we want to have this event in early May, so we just give them idea.
Yeah, do we think early to mid May is good? Probably early May, because like finals are like mid May.
I'd be careful with early May just because that's AP exam season.
Late April, maybe?
Late April. If it's the 22nd, I think it's okay. The 29th, we have an event planned in our auditorium for that Friday. If we were planning on doing it for a Friday.
Okay.
Do you guys think like a Friday after school and is the best?
I think a Friday is probably the best.
Not a Saturday, or, I mean, I'm open, whatever you guys think. Okay.
I'm very pro Friday. Russell. Oh, sorry. Okay, so the next steps for this, I guess, Sharon and / or the city will be in contact with the district, and then I'll talk with Sharon and Ashley about what the subcommittee should talk about, and then the subcommittee will meet as soon as possible, but probably like next week or the week after. We'll coordinate that. Is that good with everybody? Okay, great. I'm so excited. I'm actually very excited for this. I don't sound it. I'm just tired. Item 10, future meeting topics. This shouldn't be that long, but is there anything we'd like to talk about at future meetings? Like, is there anyone from city staff, from different departments you would like a presentation on? Is there any topic or like vibe, or like, is there something that you would like to see us talk about or do or differently? Or
I mean, I personally would be interested in hearing from the other commissions. I don't know if that's just me, but like I also don't know that much about like what the other commissions are doing. So general topic, but hopefully it's like some brainstorm magic there.
Okay.
Sorry, I'd like to second that, just because like I think that like we're all like new to a commission, and then just to see like the types of roles and activities that other commissions do too, kind of like informs us.
I think that's a good idea. Melissa says also, what's up with that Peninsula Clean Energy thing? Like, seems interesting, you know? The PCE is really cool. I think that would be cool to get a PCE person to come. I think Floor is on there. I know James is like an alt, but I don't know. Yeah, that would be cool.
She is on the board.
A PCE presentation is a good idea. Oh, and for those of you who don't know, Peninsula Clean Energy is like I don't even know what it is, but it's like a governmental thing where all the cities in the county basically work to like lower carbon emissions and do like sustainability things. It's really neat, actually. But yeah, what else? Huh. I didn't know that, Russell. Is there like would anyone like to learn about something the city does? Maybe we could go on like, or no, I don't know if we can't have a meeting as like a tour of a city thing, but like if someone were to say, oh, I want a tour of a city thing, that could be something we plan for the future. I know it's like it's actually not as late as last meeting, but ideas? If there are no ideas, we can just not talk about it.
I can reach out to Peninsula Clean Energy. And then is there a specific board or commission that you guys want to hear from?
I would say, or
oh no, go ahead. I'm just saying we have so many boards and commissions. So
yeah. Parks and Rec is cool. I don't know. I just got a bike and I've been like, and I have so many like, I've wanted to email the city council about like specific bike things, maybe like the BPAC or like, I don't know. Whatever. Does anyone have a commission you'd like to learn more about what they do? Like, does anyone know what the personnel board does? I don't want to know. I know what they do. It's like kind of boring.
Wait, is the biking commission still a?
Yeah, the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee. They'd be a cool presentation.
Okay, I will reach out to them.
Okay. If anyone has any ideas for future meeting ideas, let me or Ashley know. Okay, let's move on because it's getting late and my parents may want me to pick them up at the airport soon. Bonding brainstorming. So I talked with a few commissioners after last meeting on like what we can do. And also like I've wanted to do something, but like because of COVID, Genevieve is preemptively just typing barbecue. I love the enthusiasm and I love barbecue. But like the vibe is like we should do like a bonding thingy. What would we like to do? Bowling. Like we could go to a place, do a thing. We could meet at a park. Megan is proposing a cat cafe or something. Jasmine said yes, cats. Melissa also liked that. Ashley suggested painting in the park. That's fun. Ingrid, pajama party. Nika, walk around the city, go to cool bookstores and eat at a nice place. Oh my gosh, painting in the park, but we all switch canvases every 5 minutes. That's fun. Hi TNSF, coffee shop. Okay, I'm glad at least there's participation, albeit not verbal, but that's okay. So these are a lot of ideas. Do we want, I don't know, what do we think? Let's discuss. Someone talk. Sophia says, any of those ideas sound fun. Is this something that we would like to do a poll on? Okay, there's nodding. Okay. So we will take the ideas from the chat and do a poll for next meeting. Is that good? Or when do we want to do we think the summer is good to do like a bonding thing? Do we think like right before school ends, right after school ends? Because it would probably take like a little bit to plan. What do you, does anyone have a thought?
I think like before school end works really good because like I don't know, like it's summer, a lot of people are probably like vacationing or just like I don't know, getting rid of that like school stress, I guess.
Okay, that's a good idea. Nika says shortly before seniors move to college. Megan says, I think early summer would be good because people will be here. Perhaps the time and date should be a part of the poll. Okay, but I'm glad there's enthusiasm. And if you have ideas for the bonding thing, again, let Ashley and I know. Okay. Is there anything anyone would like to add to the discussion before we move on? No?
Sorry. I wasn't at the last one, but that one was at Orange Park, right?
The last, oh, that. Yes. That was at Orange Park. We met at the eucalyptus shelter and there was Marie, Ashley, and Sharon, or like the city provided pizza, I think, and like other snacks. And James Coleman brought us mochi donuts. That was fun. But that was just like us sitting and eating. But I love sitting and eating, but I don't know if we want to like play games or like, I think Sharon, did you suggest dodgeball or no? Am I making that up?
I said kickball.
Kickball. That's what
dodgeball's a little, vicious, but
kickball. That's
whatever.
Yeah, like we'll put out a poll. Okay, so we could do Japantown, but that could also just be like a secondary thing because I don't know. I mean, okay, like we'll talk off, or would we rather do a coordinated thing where like we are at a place doing something, or do we want to just like, I don't know. Because like cat cafes in Japantown, that's also like going to the city. Genevieve says fishing. Okay, we're gonna put out the poll. I'm gonna stop asking questions. Maybe we can go to the South City beach because we do have a beach. Okay, we're gonna put out a poll. But thank you for the chat comments. Moving on to public comments. I don't see any member of the public here. So we're gonna move on from items from staff.
Another reminder to please, please, please turn in your EFT and stipend forms. A lot of you have turned them in but did not submit a void check. Please do that. If you have any questions, let me know. If you are undocumented and don't have a social, you can leave that blank for now. I'm still working with finance to figure out specifics, but I would just like to get the paperwork in for everyone so we can get you vendor numbers. I think those who did submit, which there are not a lot, usually people are missing either the void check or one of the forms. We're going to start that process of getting you guys paid very soon. I think we're going to submit it tomorrow, but I don't know how long the process is exactly, but we are finally starting it. So yeah, just another reminder. Second thing, we officially launched our Youth Poet in Residence. So if the Civic Engagement Subcommittee could please help us advertise for that, or whoever's currently managing our social media platforms, please get the word out, because we really want this to be a success. And it's something that you guys are also collaborating with. So I think it's really important that you guys get a little bit involved and help us do some outreach for that. In addition, we wanted this to be ran by the youth, kind of. So we are looking for judges from the Youth Commission. So if any of you are interested, you only have to meet one or twice and it'll be virtually, but please reach out to me. Yeah, so that's that. And then lastly, we will be holding a Irish Heritage Month celebration on March 11th. I will send you all an invite for that, but we're gonna have Irish dancers and soda cake, I think. So that would be really fun if you could come by. I think March 11th at 4 p.m., but I will send out an invite. But main thing, please get in your EFT and stipend forms. Anything to add, Sharon?
Megan in the chat said, how do I do that void check if I don't have checks?
You can go to the bank and they can give you a temporary check. And so, and another thing, a few people have kind of made the error with, if you are getting that from your savings, or if you're requesting that the money go directly into your savings, the check has to be with your savings account. So you can't do checking and then give us a savings check, or you can't do savings and give us a checking check. Does that make sense?
And if you don't have a check, you can go to your bank or ask your parents to go to the bank and just request checks. Cause usually you don't have to get a checkbook. You can just, I know at Chase, they can just print you a check for 20 cents or something.
Yeah. And then you literally just write void on it. For anyone who does not know what a void check is, just write void across it. And yeah, so scan that with the other two documents and you should be good. If you have questions about what needs to go in the document, please reach out. I will help you. We can hop on the phone. But yeah, let's get those in so you guys can get paid. If I were you guys, I would have submitted that a long time ago so I could get my money. See.
I know. I'm
just to add to what Ashley's saying. So when you go to the bank and they print a check, it's with your account number on it. That's the whole point of this. Is the city needs some document with your account number on it, just to verify that they're putting it in the right account. So if you already have a checking account, you can use that. But if you don't, my kids don't have checks. They'll print one out for you with your number, with your account number on it. It's the deal. The only item I was going to mention is that the general plan is rolling out next week. They have a draft and I think there's a public meeting. So, we'll continue to copy you guys on things that we think you might be interested in. Oh, very good. That's the one. You got those dates. Okay, very good.
You should have gotten this in the mail. And if your parents threw it away, then shame on them for not caring. No, I'm kidding. Yes, the general plan is out. I skimmed it. It's it's a very long document, but it's very interesting and you should check it out. Was that it from items from stuff?
Yes.
Okay. So I have an item and it's actually exciting and weird. So I on Twitter somehow came in contact with someone from the California High-Speed Rail Authority. Because for those of you who don't know, 20 years ago, the voters of the state of California put out this bond to build a high-speed rail line from San Francisco all the way down to San Diego, hitting Los Angeles, and then another spur up to Sacramento. And the first bit of that is going to be San Francisco to LA, and it's going to be probably finished when we're 70. But on Twitter, I don't know. I talked to this person and she sent me a bunch of these folders that have enough for each commission member that have information and stickers and posters. And because they're like building this thing, they said that like they can hook us up and give us a tour of a construction site in like the Central Valley. And I don't know if that's anything anyone would be interested in, to like a youth commission visits the railroad construction, but it's like fun and neat, and I'm interested. And I'm gonna try to find a way, if we do an in-person bonding thing, I have like a stack of these like really big that I need to give everyone one. But that was my item. Does anyone have anything to tell us? No? Okay. If there is nothing else, Danielle says slay. Thank you, Danielle. Okay. Well, then I guess if there isn't anything else, I'm going to adjourn this meeting at 8:19. Sorry it went a bit long. Not as long as last time though, which is improvement. Okay, I hope everyone has a nice evening. Have a nice month. We will get the poll out, and the civic engagement community will work, subcommittee will work on the town hall.
See ya, everyone.